Hello, everyone. Greetings and welcome to this wonderful International Coaches Week we are celebrating in 2022. We are so excited. We have number of coaches we have interviewed and interacted with in the last 7 days to the eighth day. I am Sat Khalsa, and she is Siri Khalsa on the screen. We are both co-director and co-developer of InnerMost Shift Coaching model, which is drawn from the ancient wisdom, yoga psychology, yoga somatic, neurolinguistic programming, and the power of love as force for good, the masculine and feminine leadership. And we have made this wonderful workshop and imparted to people with a mission to help people achieve the very best they can every single moment and in single lifetime that people have it. And we've been training people, and when we train people and our coaches and other coaches when we meet, they often ask a question that how do these expert coaches and masterful coaches make their game of coaching seamlessly so exciting and engaging, whereas we tend to get bored and get overwhelmed by the client and the people before us. So, how's this games coaches play? And games means very simple. Game has a rule, game has boundary, and game is very engaging, and game is very exciting. And no game is complete without a score and a goal. Okay, so coach has a goal, the client has a goal, and both have a score and way to measure it. So this is why it's a game. And today we'll talk about a new game which every coach asks, and Siri will introduce that game. What that game is? Let me hold that. And we are waiting for our guest. And let Siri invite that guest and introduce the guest we have today is yes,
Yeah,
Siri.
so we have Adonika. I think she's going to be joining in. Hi, welcome, Adonika.
Thank you.
Welcome to
Welcome.
the series of Games Coaches Play. It's been a wonderful week for us.
Hmm.
And so today we have a last session, not the least, but then I think one of the very important sessions about why bother about certifications. Before I ask you that, let me just introduce you. So, Adonika Sweet is an ICF Master Certified Coach, lives with the philosophy be brilliant, see brilliance, and radiate brilliance. Wow, very nice. She has over a decade of experience coaching others to be effective leaders. She is a highly regarded coach, trainer, and a mentor who educates coaches to be the kind of coach that brings more brilliance to the world. She works with individuals to help them discover their brilliance and with organizations to help them recognize and master the use of their core assets. The brilliant people that bring their organizations alive. Very, very true. Her passion for inspiring, empowering, and educating people has grown through 30 plus years in the human services field. In November 2021, she was awarded as an Excellence Award in Leadership for her work on an initiative to bring individuals together to create and implement a plan to build a coaching culture. Wow. Welcome once again, Adonika, to you. So let me
Thank you.
ask you these questions. What do you think about when games coaches play, and how is this certification is a game where you can really help the client to achieve the very best? So what do you think about that?
Great. As Sat was saying around games, there's rules, there's boundaries, there's goals in games, and the same for when you have certification with coaching. Like, why certification? And what certification really can do is provide a container of excellence and brilliance so that the first of all the coach can bring themselves and truly who they are to a coaching relationship and form a partnership with the client to help them set and achieve goals that they really, really want in their lives. Not something that is based on something else that other people are imposing upon them, but really to engage that client to discover who they are and what they really want, so that their game in life is exactly plays out the way that they want. Maybe not exactly, of course there's
Mhm.
roadblocks and obstacles to, to overcome and to challenge themselves to reach higher and higher heights in order to
Mhm.
ensure they attain the goal that they really, really are looking for.
Mhm.
Okay. While Adonica, that you have expressed in a very succinct and a clear and a short manner, my question is that there are out many people and they don't have any certification. So sometimes people compare a number that ICF certified people can be counted, but there are countless people, okay, and they are doing a good job. So that's where they find it difficult to that should we go for certification or should we not go for certification, or is it the right thing to do and spend so much money on it, or should we you know just become a good coach and that's good enough. So what's your opinion on this question that people ask?
Mm. That is a great question. And, I'm going to kind of answer that question with another question. And that is, if someone doesn't become certified, and there is a difference between becoming certified and becoming credentialed with ICF, the International Coaching Federation, which I can get into later. If people don't become certified, how do they really know that they're actually coaching? And when I say that, I also want to put in the caveat that there are also educational facilities, institutions out there that are not accredited by ICF. So there's all kinds of different layers out there that I think is important for many people to become aware of. And when I look at the different layers. So, first of all, there's people out there who have no training whatsoever and call themselves coaches. And there's some individuals who are doing great work with their clients and seeing results. Is it really coaching though? And that's a question I can't answer. And nor can that person because they've never been trained, so they don't really know. Most of the time, I would venture to say that it is mentoring or consulting. And just with the experience that I have, because I have been coached by both certified coaches as well as credentialed coaches through ICF, as well as non certified coaches.
Hmm.
Um, and so, individuals who have called themselves coaches that I have been coached by, it has mainly been mentoring or consulting, mainly consulting, actually. And so that's just what I have found in my experience. I I do believe that there are some non-certified coaches out there who really are coaching. I think those individuals would be hard to find and absolutely know 100% before even starting with them that they're actually coaching.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think very well said, because if you have not done the whole credentialing part, then one is that's my experience when we are training people, when you're becoming a certified coach and you're becoming a credentialed coach, one, it brings a lot of authenticity. Second, it also brings in a lot of the competencies of ICF, because sometimes you are coaching and you think you're listening, but then you're not, because you're not aware. When you're coaching people, you're just not aware what you're doing and what you're not doing. So listening to
Exactly.
so many coaching sessions as an institute, when people send us recording sessions, so we actually find out, okay, this is what is it and this is what is missing.
Yeah.
So very, very correctly said that it's very important that when you do credentialing, I think it's not just a part of becoming more authentic, but also understanding the whole process. And when you know that there's somebody who's testing you and your recording session will be tested, at the end of the or for the final word of, "Oh, go ahead, you become this," or the test, whatever it is, then also it gives you that kind of confidence that yes, you can handle any kind of coaching. You can handle people on top, you can handle people at any level, life coaching or whatever they want to do it. So
Mhm.
that's my thought. Let me ask you
Yeah.
this:
Okay,
what made you choose? Yeah, sorry, go
oh,
ahead, please.
I was just
Go
going to
ahead.
say,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that because I totally agree with you because um, there's so much rigor to the process and going through um, the process of credentialing has really had me grow as an individual. So even
Mm-hmm.
doing the process just for personal growth is
Mm-hmm.
just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
To really put words to it is, challenging at times for me because I have just changed and shifted, not who I am, but become more aware of who I am and how
Mm-hmm.
I show up with people, including my family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just such a powerful process.
Absolutely, absolutely. uh okay, I just want to ask you that what made you choose and be certified first at an ACC, and then what made you also upgrade to become an MCC? What was your thought process about that?
I love that question. I'm actually just going to take it a step further back too. When
Mm-hmm.
I first became interested in coaching, actually, I'm going to go even further back than that. I have a background in social work.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, when I got my social work, I have a social work diploma. And when I got into social work, I was doing it for a number of years and there was just, I enjoyed it, I loved it. There was just a piece that was missing for me, and I couldn't put my finger on what that piece was that was missing. And I
Mm-hmm.
never did go for my bachelor's degree just because of the realm that I was interested in. I didn't need to go for that. I was interested in youth work at that time as well as career development. And I really I just found that there was just again something missing, and I still don't know exactly what it was, other than when I found coaching, I found that it was more empowering than therapy was from my experience as a social worker and as a receiver of therapy. And I don't doubt that many people feel empowered when they go through therapy. So I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that that's not the case. I just found for me that it wasn't right for me. And um, and what I found when I found coaching was that it really allowed me to form a real true foundation into who I really was and move forward with that. And then with my clients, as I became certified, and I was a true advocate at that time for becoming certified, because I said, well, how do I know that I'm actually coaching and having the same impact
Mm-hmm.
if I don't become certified? So
Mm-hmm.
at that point in time, I was sort of interested in the International Coaching Federation,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't positive that I would go the credentialing route, but I knew
Uh-huh.
I wanted to become certified. And I chose a school that was accredited by the ICF because I wanted a school that was that had high standards and that was kind of, for lack of a better word, governed, or
Mm-hmm.
like had a had some rigor to it. And so I chose a school that had that, and I went through the process of a school that was to the PCC level, and then when I was in there, I as soon as I started, basically, okay, yeah, I know I'm going to be going through the credentialing route, and so I made that decision fairly quickly once I started the certification process. And so as I went through my certification, the very first semester was all about personal groundwork.
Mhm.
and discovering who I was, what some of my boundaries were, what some of my challenges were, and how to overcome those challenges and really embrace who I am. And then in the second semester, really diving into work with organizations and work with teams is
Mhm.
what I learned in that program. And so that was almost a decade ago now.
Mhm.
And shortly after I became certified, I knew, well, I had already known that I wanted to start the credentialing process. So I was tracking my hours, and it was probably mm, about 2 years, a year and a half later, I got my ACC.
Mhm.
And then And then I'm working in a large organization as a coach now, and I managed to land that a year after I was certified. And so within the organization that I currently work, which is different from the organization that I train with, well, there's some overlap. The
Mhm.
organization that I work in, I do training in there. I train leaders to take a coaching approach, which is very different than training coaches, which I'm involved
Mhm.
in another organization to train coaches. And so in that organization, they don't require us to have an ICF credential.
Mhm.
However, they do see value in aligning with ICF. So all the work that I've been doing there, I have made sure that it was aligned with with the ethics of ICF as well as the competencies of ICF, etc. So I've
Mhm.
been very attuned to that in the organization that I'm in. And then from there, what made me pursue PCC and MCC really was a dedication in myself, a
Mm,
dedication to me in my personal growth and that continued challenge of achieving what I personally want in my life, as well as I really wanted to ensure I was serving my clients well, very well, and doing the best that I can with and for my clients, mainly with my clients, because I really believe in partnering with my
Mhm.
clients. And ICF and how they really promote what coaching is really truly aligns with who I am. And
mm,
so it just made sense for me to go from PCC or to my PCC, which took me a couple of
Mhm.
years or a few years to
Mhm.
attain that, to get my hours. Because at the time when I got my PCC, I needed 750 hours, not 500, which it is now. And then I just recently received my MCC. So in March, I obtained my MCC. And that process really just amped up my skill level even more. And I really feel like I can offer more to my clients as well as to coaches. So I've been mentoring coaches for about a year now, and I absolutely love it and see the growth
Mhm.
and really the beauty in the different levels of coaching and seeing people grow and develop, and that just warms my heart. I love it.
Mhm.
okay.
That was a long-winded
I think
answer, wasn't
I
it?
think you have given a very candid and a very, very nice, sincere answer, I believe.
Honest, yes.
And every word that you spoke has a meaning. And even if people may not have noticed it, I think they can revisit this um, video and note down what have you, the message you have given it. So just you can give a rest to your throat for a moment. I believe you are facing some challenge. And so next question you can ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I have a very curiosity here, and it's in the interest of the audience. You know, when we have got certified from, or we have taken a certified education from an institute, let's say, people when come to us, we train them fully, and we make sure that They learn the game of listening, they learn the game of questioning, and they learn the game of being present. They learn the game of evoking awareness. So they learn all these games, and we call them as turning them the action into reflection into the goals. And then, as you beautifully touch, the ethics. So they can always tell, okay, hey, see, you can look, visit this ethic site on this site, and you can be yourself aware that how will I conduct when you hire me as a coach. So a lot is being said by the way people are groomed and the way the authentication of a body like ICF stands behind it. So we always tell that it is not a brand, it's a value that ICF has.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stand by a value, the value stand by you. So if you stand by a brand, the brand stand by you. So
Mm-hmm.
that gives a good, spine for people to keep their head up and walk into the offices and into the life of people with authentic training. Now my question is that this is all right, you have given us such a quality training, we are so good at it, and we can now prove ourselves, okay? And all the words that you said, and they say, yeah, so we'll follow it naturally. Now, why should I get into the game of getting credentialized? Okay, I mean ACC, PCC. Why these games? Okay, so when I have taken authentic training, and that too by an institute approved by the ICF, so why should I spend more on
Mm.
furthermore? So what's the answer here?
Yeah, and it's really up to the individual. And there's a number of reasons to invest in that. One of the things that I say is if someone has a real true passion for doing this work for the rest of their lives, why wouldn't they continue that growth on a regular basis so that they're on top of what's happening in the world, so they're on top of what's going on for skill development. I mean, the ICF has actually shifted and changed over the years, just in the time that I've been involved with ICF. Things are growing and changing, and the competencies are becoming more and more clear. The ethics are becoming more and more clear. And one of the things that I have found, just going back to a little bit about what we were talking about earlier around non-certified or non-credentialed coaches, you brought up ethics, and I just wanted to speak about that a little bit more because ethics are so important. I know just in our area within the last few months, there have been a couple of articles that have come out in our news that where there were a couple of people who went undercover and were coached by people who were not certified and not
Oh,
credentialed. And they actually went against some real major ethics that were happening. And it hit our news, and I thought to myself, you know, that's going to take kind of a blow to the coaching industry a little bit there, as well as be good, because it's so important for people to realize that there are some people out there, and I'm not saying all, there's some people out there who are coaching and not being ethical when it comes to coaching. Some people are trying to be therapists when they're coaching. And there's a clear line that ICF sets out. And this is what I mean that is so important. If you want to make this a career, go through it and really immerse yourself in it. And you can do it slowly. You don't have to do it all at once, and just keep building it. And yes, it's expensive. It's also expensive to go to school and become an engineer and become, and and it's expensive to go and become a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. It takes time and dedication when you make a commitment to a profession. And that's what this is a true profession. So I'm, as you can tell, I might have a strong bias towards becoming certified and credentialed and keeping up with that. I mean, I've been in this industry for 10 years. It's taken me, um, 10 years to become a master certified coach.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay.
When
Yes, Siri.
yeah, so I was just wondering, it's something like a process. Like when you go to a school, when you're in a class, you have your unit test, so that proves every month you have some kind of a test, but then you have a final exam.
Yeah.
If you do not clear the exam, you do not pass to the next class. And
Hmm.
that's about consolidating every learning that you have had. And every, of course, in a school it's all about the learning. Implementing though is less, but still it's all about consolidating the learning. So I
Yeah.
think if you're coaching as a certified coach because you've attended a certified program, it does give you some kind of a structure. If the like for example, we have a full structure of coaching which we have formed. The full framework is there, so people can follow that framework and start coaching people. But when you add the credentialing aspect of it, and when people have to send the recording sessions as a part of our mentoring process, when they have to do that, or we listen to the live when they are doing coaching, it makes a lot of sense that actually what they are doing. Because when you are a new coach, especially, you tend to give your peace of mind to the client. It's very difficult to hold back because you have your so much of experience in life that you want to share, which is not a part of coaching in any case, and especially under ICF, it's not a part of coaching.
Yeah.
So slowly, I think when you move towards the whole credentialing part of it, it becomes, it's like what comes to my mind. Another metaphor is like, so in the beginning, when you're an ACC, it's like a science steps 1 2 3, follow the steps and go ahead. The moment you move towards the PCC, it becomes like an art. So you have a paint, you have a brush, and you should know how to flow it, make it ready. But when you go to MCC, it is like an artistry. It's there in you and it's just flowing without even asking any question, and it has to just go through it. I think so both the ways very important, and I also really appreciate that we need to have the credentialing process to understand your own also, where you are in what level. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. So let
Yeah. I
me
love that analogy, Siri. Thank you. That is just, it's so beautiful because Um, you're right, and people have asked me, "What is the difference between ACC, PCC, and MCC?" And I've kind of explained it similar to you, but not using that analogy, so I love that. Can I use that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, so you explain, what it is, what is the difference? Okay, of course, we have some is a perspective we are looking at, but still we have many people who are there. So, if you can just throw some light about ACC, PCC, and MCC, the whole credentialing process, I
In
think that
your
would be
language.
in your
Ah,
language. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
You said it so beautifully, though. It's all all the credentials, all the levels are very important because we all go through a journey. If I just look at a different analogy of growing up,
Mhm.
as an infant, we learn, or actually, I'll use a kitten. We recently are fostering a kitten,
Oh,
and she's only
okay.
5 weeks old. So,
Uh,
so at the beginning, um, for kittens, their eyes and ears are closed. They
oh,
don't know what's out there. They can't hear. They can't see. As an
oh, I didn't know that.
ACC, yeah, right when
Really,
they're born,
I didn't know that. Okay. Hmm.
yeah, they can't hear or see, so they're totally relying on others. So so that's before even getting into a certification. You don't know what you don't know. And and then as time goes on, so at 8 days,
Mm,
8 to 12 days, kittens open their eyes and their ears have come up and they can start to hear a little bit. And when their eyes first open, they can barely see. It's kind of cloudy, so they can sort of make their way around, but not really.
mm-hmm.
And so when you get into certification and you just are starting, again, you're just starting to see things that you didn't know before. And it's very
Mm.
cloudy, very vague. There's lots of more information that you really need to obtain in order to for you to start to hear and see more and more clearly. And for kittens, that comes at about
Mhm.
3 weeks old. And
Mm.
then they really start to move around and respond to sounds, etc. So same within in coaching with an ACC, yeah, you've got some things, some skills that you're working on, like you mentioned earlier, Sat, those games of listening and questioning and presence, etc. So starting to learn the different games within coaching, and and how those rules work, and what makes sense in the coaching relationship, and really just setting that foundation so that when or as you understand more and you gain more experience, when you get into PCC, yeah, you start to really put things together and you start to really play.
Mm. Mhm.
It's a time of growth and playing. My kitten is 5 weeks old, as I mentioned, and she's running around and she's testing
Mhm.
things, and comes to a new surface and not sure about it, and is playing around with it and seeing what it's like, and really testing and learning, and growing and developing. And as you gain more and more experience through the PCC, so there's 2,000 hours worth of experience as a PCC
Mm.
before
Mhm.
moving to an MCC. So
MTC,
there's
right.
there's a lot of playing that happens, and testing, and really putting yourself out there as to who you are, and learning what your flow is and what that game is for you. Because I would venture to guess that, Siri, you coach very differently than I do. And Sat, you coach very differently than Siri and myself do. We all have our own styles. And
Mm.
when we reach that, getting up to that 500 mark of hours, and then into that PCC, we're really continuing to explore who we are as a coach, and really coming into owning how we show up in that coaching
Mm.
relationship, and our own style, and what works for clients, and how to adjust our style to meet the needs of the client, so that we can really partner. That's where the true strength grows. And then as I learned to, at the 1,500 hours, and into the
Mm.
2,000, etc., really learning how to adjust and be in the flow with the client, really truly partnering with the client, and saying coaching is
Mm.
fun. Like, this game is fun. and
Mm.
and once I'm into that, I can really tell when I'm coaching at the MCC level, because I don't feel like I'm working. I have such a
Mm.
passion for it. And and in the school that I went to for my certification, it's a dance. They use the analogy of a dance,
Mm.
and it just flows. You can see when people have danced together for a while, there's just a
Mm.
flow, and it's effortlessly, and you just watch them, and it's like magic. I kind of relate being at the MCC level like that, where you see that magic, you feel that magic, you feel the energy, and very little can even necessarily be said, and yet the work is happening underneath and
Mhm.
through that energy. Like you said, Siri, it just flows. That artistry just flows. So,
Absolutely. Very
little,
beautifully explained.
there we go.
Great. Adonika, you have touched the very vital and sensitive points. And I think you're so passionate and so deeply ingrained with what does it mean to be ACC, PCC, MCC. And it must have encouraged many people to come to ACC if they are not, upgrade to PCC if they are not, upgrade to MCC if they are not. Now, I have a three-part question here.
Okay. Is this a
And this
stat
is
question, Sat?
see, just for the knowledge of audience as well as we know it,
Yeah.
ACC is 100 hours of coaching.
Yes.
PCC is 5 times 500.
Yeah.
MCC is other 5 times 2500. Okay, then the PCC. Now, does it mean that if an organization going for this game of hiring coaches, they should hire ACC for the junior executive, PCC for the middle one, and MCC for the senior one?
Senior one.
And does it mean the ACC, the PCC will be 5 times costlier than the ACC, and MCC will be 5 times costlier than the PCC? I mean, just what do you think this game is? To allocate the coaches.
My answer to that is it's all about the partnership with the client. And I say that because ACC, every level of coaching is so important because of the growth. As people gain experience, yes, I would say that the more complex issues and that can be dealt with easier through coaches who are more experienced. And so typically, when you look at the different levels in various organizations, that yeah, it would make sense to match the higher level coaches with the senior level management and executive. However, I would not say, or I would say that there are ACC coaches that can have impact that will help move any leader along the way as well. So that's why I say it's all about the partnership, and every credential is valuable. Um, and it's just like, if you look at the game, a sports game, when someone is starting out, you can see those players who are, just have that natural talent to it. And there's some ACC coaches that have that natural talent for coaching. And then you'll also see some players on a field that need a little bit more assistance and mentoring and consulting and coaching through the way to become more skilled. So all levels have that support. I mean, I'm a new MCC. Does that mean that I'm coaching at the MCC level all the time? No. you know, let's be honest here. We all have our days of being challenged by
Yes,
clients
that's true.
and being challenged by life. And so really I it's in that moment of partnering with the client, and the true partnership is where we're going to see the biggest difference and change for the individual. Yeah, that's the way I see
Um,
it.
yeah. So let me extend this question a bit before Siri's turn is
Yes.
there. He's waiting to ask a question. Will this game or can this game pose a problem if I am a HR head, okay, and I have to appoint coaches now for my
Hmm.
junior, middle, and the
Senior.
high end people. Now, the issue of the the complexity of issue at the down the level could be much higher, and I want to allocate MCC there, and complexity of the issue could be much lesser in a top leader, and I want to put an ACC there. Now, won't this create a problem for me to, in fact, convince I am giving you a coach whose ACC can handle you, and I'm to the junior, I'm giving a coach who is MCC. So, can this be? And if this can be, then how do we handle this game?
Yeah, it's interesting. Um, I think, typically, if an organization is looking to hire coaches, they would look to MCC or PCC with a lot of experience. And and that's, that's what I would recommend normally. I just don't want to discourage anyone who has an ACC to say, well, um, you can't coach people that are senior leaders, when in fact some of them really can. Uh, However, when you're looking at it from an organizational point of view, absolutely, they're going to want to hire the best, the ones who have a track record, the ones who have the experience, the ones who have put themselves out there to continue the rigorous process to become the best that they can become. And so the matching of it really depends on the partnership and looking at what's going to be best for the person, um, as well as the organization. Most certainly, you have to look at the whole system and what's going to work for the whole system. So yeah, they might want, an organization might want to hire a few coaches at a few different levels, because also there's a price point. MCC coaches are going to charge more than ACC coaches,
Right.
and some organizations might not have that in their budget. And would I say to to not hire um, coaches at, like, if there's if an organization is faced with a financial crunch, and to not hire coaches at all, or to hire coaches that have a credential that might not be as high as an MCC, well, an organization has to look at how they're going to invest in their employees, their core assets, like you introduced me, Siri. I I strongly feel that coaching is important for any organization. So therefore, the organization needs to look at what's going to be best for them, and hiring the ones that have the track record is going to be best. However, if they can't afford that, hiring coaches rather than not hiring coaches is going to be best. Does that answer your question, Sat?
Yes, of course. Yes, did you have question?
So, I was just wondering, sometimes the people ask questions, when they are coming to the institutes and signing up, that why do we really need to get ICF certification? There's some other institutes which are also available. So recently I learned, I think, one of the
Like
institutes in
EMDC or
US,
other bodies are there.
EMCC, or even I think you have this, there's a particular program, I forgot, it's Harvard or some university in US, which is offering certified coach. They're not ICF certified, but then they are making them as certified coaches. So why is it so important to go with ICF and not with the other certification institutes which also offer certification courses? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so certification for individuals, yeah, because there's also online programs that you can take that are just a
Yeah,
weekend long that give you a certificate at the end.
right.
Now, I'm guessing Harvard or whatever. I'm not familiar with the one that you were just
Yeah.
talking about. Uh, I'm guessing that they're going to have more rigor.
Hmm.
But when we, so when an institution aligns themselves with a body like ICF or EMCC in Europe, is quite large out there, like they're awesome as well. And so when an organization is accredited through an organization like that, that gives that gives confirmation that they've been through a rigorous process that aligns with what coaching truly is. um, Other programs that are not a certification, or that are a certification program that are not accredited through ICF or through EMCC, they haven't necessarily gone, or they haven't gone through a rigorous process like that.
Hmm.
They might not even have major testing.
Hmm.
Uh, and so if someone goes through a certification program like that, it's not to say that they're not learning skills, and sometimes individuals are just at that level, so learning those skills. What I would encourage, though, is that then they go through the credentialing process to make sure that what they've got does align with ICF,
Mhm.
and that I would encourage them to do that early on. So with ICF, uh, 60 training hours is what's required for the ACC,
Okay, see.
and ICF has the portfolio program, so that if the
Mm.
certification program that the individual went through is not accredited through ICF, the person can still take that certification and go through that portfolio process once they have their 100 hours of actual coaching experience and apply through that route to get their ACC. So there still is a way to do it. Um, Going through an accredited training provider will simply give the individual more confidence. They
Mhm.
will have less likely created less or more likely created less bad habits, so to
Mhm.
speak,
Mhm.
and they can just have more confidence in the fact that they are coaching at a level that is something that ICF would recognize. And ICF or EMCC, more in the European areas, um, are recognized by organizations more and more, particularly government.
Mhm.
Um, so within where I work, it's not necessary that someone is absolutely credentialed through
Mhm.
ICF. However,
Okay.
it is something they do look for,
Oh.
and so it's more and more happening, and there's all kinds of organizations that are coming up now where they will bring on coaches into their roster of coaches in order to provide services to organizations, various organizations that hire
Mhm.
that company who can fulfill it with a roster of coaches,
Mhm.
and they are more and more looking for credentials as well. So
Mhm.
that's why I would say it's really important to go through an organization, a certification program that is accredited through ICF, because it just makes your life a lot easier. Why pay for something that's not recognized through ICF
Mhm.
or
Right.
EMCC? Because you're
Okay,
putting up
so
money.
let me put a question to ourselves, all the three on the screen. And my question is, when you're ACC, there is a road up there. Let's go for PCC, and you scale it up. Then you look at MCC, and then you
PC.
scale it up. MCC.
Yep.
After PCC is
Yeah.
MCC. And then after MCC, you hit the ceiling.
Hmm.
Now, for this game ends there of
Mhm.
getting to be further up. So because there are no further grades here, in especially in ICF, is nothing beyond MCC now. So what are you feeling having hit the highest
Highest. Yeah.
credential and there's
You
no
know,
road to go now?
it's funny because I just see that so much more is open for me, because within coaching, there's so many realms of, like I'm going the realm of developing coaches. So I'm with Radiance Partners to help develop coaches. And so that's the path that I've gone. And so I'm not as at a ceiling by any stretch, because my growth and learning, sure, I coach at the MCC level. And does that mean that that I always coach there? I already answered that before. No. So there's
Mm.
more growth there. There's more development there. And I've chosen the route of training coaches and mentoring coaches because I just continue to up my game. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I absolutely love about Radiance Partners is, and that's the one that I'm an educator for. I am um, I was recently brought on and I'm being trained to be one of their educators. And what I love about them is they have such a high standard. They are accredited through ICF for one, and they are always encouraging people to up their game. And in the way that they do it really brings in who the person is. I've already mentioned that a number of times about what I love about this industry. But what I absolutely love about Radiance is in how they do it. They have they have really they have small classes for one, so that makes them stand out. And I think having small classes, and I'm talking very small classes, under 10 people, and so the individual is given that one-to-one attention where they can really experiment right there while they're still in training, rather than doing it off on their own. They have the support right there. There's so much flexibility in working with the educator, and they really get to know their cohort, the small class that they're in, like really very closely. And they one of the things that makes them stand out is they really attract individuals who are spiritually minded, which is different from being religious. Spiritually minded is really having that individual practice of of learning what peace and purpose means to them. And it was kind of funny because when I was preparing for this, I was really looking for um, a way to articulate what the difference between spiritually minded and being religious is. And religion is a specific set of organized beliefs and practices, and it's usually shared by a community or group, which is great for building that. And spirituality is more of that individual practice and aligning with person's sense of purpose, their own life purpose. And it's a process of developing beliefs around the meaning of life, and in particular, connection with others. And that's what I love about Radiance, is that connection with others. And where I found this language is actually through an organization called Ideas, which is a not-for-profit organization based out of Australia. And so I just love the way that they put that
Mhm.
together for me. And it really aligns so well with what Radiance does, and helps people really bring their own spirituality and their own life purpose to life, to really living an individual's life purpose. And then that connection with others is also huge. They formed their own community, called the Radiance Community, and
Mm.
membership is for life. You know, there's no extra fees once you've gone through that rigorous program and you become a certified Radiance coach. You're part that membership is there, and you can tap into the expertise of that community anytime. They have courses and masterminds on a monthly basis. They have peer-to-peer practice on a monthly basis. So this is ongoing, far past your actual own once you're certified. And what's also great is ICF has, with the rigorous process, so me as a MCC, sure, there's a cap there, but I need to renew every 3 years and keep
Mm.
my own development
Right.
going along.
Mhm.
And so I need to have my continuing educational units. There's 40 that are required for renewal. And through Radiance, I can get that for free as long as I'm attending on a regular basis those monthly courses and experience. So it just allows for all kinds of benefits. So sorry, I got talking about
I
Radiance.
think,
As you
yeah,
can tell, I'm so
that was the
passionate
next,
about it.
yeah. So that was the next question, that what is, how is that program different then? And you've answered quite a bit about, how Radiance program is different, because there are so many available in the market. So,
Hmm.
sir, if you have a question, you can ask.
Yeah, I think Sri,
Or
you
if
can answer that. People are looking for the spiritual coaching. that how do we or how does our model help them to
Yeah, I think
develop?
that's a. I think that is something very unique about us, and I think I've not heard many people talking of spiritual. I think being in connection with so many people, so that's the first time I'm listening from you, Adonika, that this institute also talks about spiritual connections. Our
Yeah.
program is more about the whole program is called as InnerMost Shift Coaching, and
Hmm.
when we're talking of people making as InnerMost Shift coaches, the whole focus lies on creating that inner shift inside. But
Yeah.
this shift does not happen here, it does not happen outside. So, what we do in our workshop is when we train people, our first session itself is helping people to navigate to their true being. And
Hmm.
once they are navigated to the beingness, I think that is what spiritual means to us. When you're connected with your true spirit, and this true spirit is that powerful, pure being which we are all born with. And
Hmm.
fortunately, unfortunately, we can talk about both the things, because the experiences of life, your parents, your friends, then your family, then your teachers, everybody keeps adding those layers. And somehow this pure being has got hidden inside.
Yes.
So we navigate the people to this beingness so that they're able to access that power within them which is inside them. Which always says when God made human beings, He put the key inside so that you keep searching outside and don't search inside. But I think it's been a shift. I think since 2012, there's a shift in the whole consciousness when people have started looking inward, and now more so.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even with the COVID happening, right? So we do that, and that's a full process of initiation which we train our coaches on. In fact, the we have given a very beautiful toolbook to the people with the whole script written on it, so that when they are going to be coaching their clients, the first step is going to be helping them to connect them to their true being. Once they do that, then when the answers come from within themselves, that is very miraculous. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
I've been coaching
Hmm.
few people, and especially on top, sometimes people say, "No, look, I don't know how does it go about. I don't know what's the answer. I've never done this in my life." So I said, okay, go back to your own self, and we call it as a supreme state of excellence, or a guru state for a much finer word. That get inside your own guru state, which is the state of your uniqueness and knowingness. And now think about the same situation, what happens to them. And they are
Hmm.
amazed with the kind of
Yep.
answers they get, which they have never thought in their life.
Yep.
And I was also talking to one of the gentlemen whom I was coaching, and he says, Siri, I've trained my young 9-year-old daughter into this. Earlier, she would come to me and I would say, look, I am your father and I know it better, so do it this way. But now she says, after learning coaching and after undergoing a whole process of becoming a coach, I allow her to speak her mind and heart. And sometimes I'm amazed that to my problem, I get an answer from her. When she's telling things, I get an answer from that. So I think in total, if you're looking at what we offer, is obviously is one of the things which touches the spirit within. And overall coaching, I think, is again a very beautiful methodology, is to
Yeah.
get people to their heart. And I think if we can do that, if people work from the heart, obviously we have to use the mind, there's no doubt about it. But if we can
Yeah.
get from the heart, I think it can create a better harmony, it can create a better environment where people can grow, where people can feel secured, and they can also, kind of be who they are. If we can do
Yes.
that, I think it can be such a wonderful thing to be, right?
Yeah, that sounds quite similar to our process. The first
Oh,
session is really about what is it that you want, and diving into that and really exploring the inner world.
Hmm.
And a lot of
Mhm.
people haven't done that or given themselves
absolutely.
permission to do that. It's a
Absolutely.
very powerful process. Very
Absolutely.
powerful
Dr. Ronika,
process.
okay, so because time is only 1 minute left, how do we ensure people, and because there are several bodies, though you answered it, there are several bodies, like as we also train people on NLP, and we have the Society of NLP founded by Dr. Richard Bandler. But we also face challenge, and there is a ANLP, BNLP, CNLP, DNLP, ENLP, and anybody can create a certified institute, okay?
Yeah.
And they need only a website to support that, and certification is issued from there. So even they ask us, hey, that certification is available from there, and you are giving so costly and all that. So what is the word to all the audience who can become the victim of the bodies which are not in fact the bodies, they are only existing by name? So what is your word for them? How can they safeguard themselves and play the right game of certification and not fall trap into the wrong game of certification?
Oh, just in
Good
the last,
question.
oh, we're just over the time. One word. The word that comes to mind is passion. See the passion in who you want to work with. So if it's a training provider, if it's a coach, see the passion in them and do the research to ensure that they
Yeah.
have the credential or the accreditation if it's a training provider.
Okay. Great. I
Yeah,
think
I think,
you answered
yeah,
briefly and nicely. I think. Okay.
And
So
we
I
were
think
worried
time
about
is up
filling up the
now.
hour. Look at that.
yes, 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 yes. Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So it's time to say bye to the audience and everyone. So
Thank you
let's
so much,
have
Veronica.
bye bye.
It was
Thank
a
you for showing
pleasure
up.
to have you with us, and we definitely it was a wonderful session. Thank you, audience with us coming from different parts of the country and the world as well. This is going to be on many platforms. You can also view it later on. It's going to be a recorded session, and thank you so much for being ICF giving us this International Coaching Week. We celebrated so well with the whole week, and we had different people coming in and sharing their experiences. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful time listening to people from different parts of the world. And I hope the audience, whoever are connected, have also got a lot of insights about how people work in different places and how, of course, though we are same human beings, but the cultures are different. How do we do it? So thank you, ICF, as well, for putting it together. And thank you, Prosperity. She's a part of our team. She has done all the work to put this all together. And we see you
Bye
next.
bye. See you.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you very much. Pleasure.